What's up guys, this is Chrono Joe and today I've got some Titanfall 2 gameplay for you and I've got some footage from Amped Hardpoint. And basically what I want to show you in these videos is how to play Amped Hardpoint effectively, what you need to do, how to play the game type and how to win consistently basically. So for those who don't know, and I assume most of you already do, Amped Hardpoint is effectively domination from Call of Duty or control from Destiny. And what that means is you have 3 points and you need to capture those to earn your team points. So you need to capture and hold them. And on Amped Hardpoint, you also need to amp them to earn double points. So what amping basically means is you stand on the point a bit longer and it gets to like a tier 2 stage of being captured. The amped status depreciates over time, so you gradually lose the amped status and you gain half points after a while. But by amping them, you gain double points, like I say. So as you can see at the moment, C is ×2, which means C is amped, so we're getting 2 times points from C. And that just incentivizes recurrently defending a point, basically. So in games like Call of Duty and things like that, you have people just capping B, and then they'll just sit on an Overwatch over B the entire time. They never need to go back onto that point. They can start spawn trapping the opposing team, and they'll be able to earn points that way. That doesn't work this way in Titanfall 2. So by encouraging people to go back to the points, go back to them and amp them to get more points, it means that people have to move. They can't just spawn trap a team and then gain points that way, because the opposing team could cap their 1 point and they could gain the 2 times from their point, and then they could technically stay level with the aggressive team with 2 points, provided the aggressive team doesn't amp them. So hopefully what you can see what I've done here in the start of this gameplay basically, and the advice I would give you is basically to rush B as soon as possible with as many teammates that you can get to come with you. You want at least 1 player to stay back and capture A, but that aside, get all 5 of your team and go for B. Like, if you can secure B, that is generally predictive of the match outcome, more so than anything else within the first few minutes of the game. So it's really important you get that point. It's really important to amp it if possible, because if you amp your starting point and you amp B, then you get 2 points with 2 times. You can easily get 100 points ahead of your opponents within the first few minutes of the game. So you can see right now we managed to cap B at the start, and we are 100 points ahead of this opposing team. And for a game type that only requires you to get to 400 score, being 100 points ahead is quite a difficult thing to kind of get past for the opposing team. Not only that, but by capping the first objective, by capping B, by killing the opponents that try to challenge B, you also get your Titan incredibly quickly. You may or may not have seen here, but I actually killed 4 people on B at the start of this game, and I immediately had my Titan available, which meant I was able to just run around the map. I was able to go down to A, kill opponents. I was able to go to B, trying to control the space. Trying to help my team reclaim B here, because the problem is if that Titan gets through, it means it's going to be a huge problem for any of my teammates that try and cap B. So having your Titan around just to help your teammates defend against other Titans is a really nice thing to have. Although my Titan died early, I hit the core there very quickly and then ejected out at the same time and left him in a doomed state, so he was forced to eject as well. So I got that Titan off the objective, I made sure my team retained control, I waited to see his ejection, and I finished him off because I wasn't willing to let him capture the objective. And that's the kind of objective play you kind of need. You need to be very aggressively defending and claiming B, and so long as you have B, you will usually win the game, because the thing is, you're going to spawn at A or C most of the time, so it's assumed that you have one of those points. Like, unless your team are thoroughly incompetent, you're going to have A or C, and if your team are at the level where they can't capture A or C, then you are not going to win the game anyway, because if you're getting killed as soon as you spawn and can't even get a foothold on the map, then it doesn't really matter. You're not going to win the game. So like I say, very important to rush B as soon as possible. Getting your Titan out is a big asset early on in the game. It helps control the point. It depends on a particular map, that's one thing I will say. So in the second match that I have in this clip, you'll see a game where my Titan isn't as useful as it is in this one. The difference here is that every point is viewable by the Titan, so I can kill players on any of the objectives on this map. I can also capture both A and C with the Titan. Now on the next map, you can't capture any of the points with the Titan to my knowledge. So that really limits their usage on those maps. It really limits how many people you want on your team to be in them, because calling out 6 Titans on a map where the Titans can't capture the hard points is a good way to lose very quickly if your teammates plan on being in those Titans. But it doesn't mean don't use your Titans, because they do do a good job controlling space. They do provide an obstruction between like A and B or B and C, etc. They do provide an obstruction between the objectives. They prevent the enemy team getting onto those objectives, and generally they can be very effective in just killing opponents and deterring them from capturing anything. But you want to be able to capture the points at the same time. You want to be able to amp them, you want to be able to capture them, you want to be able to reclaim them and fight for them if opposing pilots get onto them. So having every player in a Titan and no one on the ground is certainly not a good idea on any of the maps that don't allow the Titans to cap the points. And in some cases there are instances on some of the maps where even when the Titans can cap the points, there are places where the pilots can go that can contest the points that the Titans can't easily reach and things like that. So it's good to have a few pilots running around, and I would say generally you don't realistically want to use all of your Titans at once on one of these games. But like I say, we captured B at the start here, and it's very, very predictive of the match outcome. We captured B, we got 100 points ahead, the enemy team felt like they were spawn trapped in A, and we just dominated the game. We managed to win by 200 points. Now, the second game just coming up from this followed on right after this one, but it's a little bit less, it's a little bit closer basically. We didn't destroy them quite as significantly as in this one. So that might be a bit more interesting to watch, and I actually make a number of mistakes that I think would be helpful to consider when thinking about what to do in your gameplay and when to use your Titan and things like that. So one of the things I do in this map is I play this map in a very similar way to the previous one, probably because they followed right after one another. I also don't rush B as quickly because I get distracted by trying to climb this rock and then go for A or something silly. I don't know, like, I'm still new to the game, I'm still trying to figure things out, and then there I was trying to climb the rocks here. There was a faster route onto B that way, and I realised I wasn't going to get onto B first, so I decided to capture A. So the really important thing is getting to B first. Not just getting there quickly, but getting there first, or at least at the very minimum equal in like speed to the opposing team. Now, the reason that's important because it means you can get your sight line onto a doorway or etc. or a place that you expect the enemy to appear. And that gives you a better defensive position for the point. You're already defending the point, you're already capping the point. So you're already halfway there and managed to kill it. What was that guy even doing? Like jumping on the hard point? Like, what the hell? Some of these people. So one thing that I would bear in mind is that audio cues in this game, although the game is really fast-paced, I know it might be tempting to just play music and kind of run around and do your own thing, but audio cues are a big deal in this game, like, because Respawn have done a good job on the audio design, and every single like subtlety of player movement makes a distinct sound. You can hear footsteps, you can hear pilot movement, you can hear jump jets, you can hear things like that, and you can see where your allies are on the minimap, so you know if there's a pilot jump jet used on the left side of you and if your ally isn't there, you know that's an opponent. Especially in games like Amped Hardpoint, it's not like attrition, there aren't AI running around, you're not going to have confusing sounds confounding the experience basically. You're going to be able to isolate the enemy player's movements based on audio cues, and that's what you need to be doing on these kind of like close quarters, objective based defenses. As you can see, this is where I get Scorch out at the very start of the game, and here I am demonstrating one of Scorch's best assets, which is the gas grenades and thermite launching cannon. So basically you can hook one of those gas grenades into any of the objective areas and set the entire thing on fire. So not the entire room, so like they can capture B in that place from the top floor or the ground floor, and if that pilot was on the ground floor then I wouldn't have been able to get him with the fire. But it's quite common that they sit on the upper floor next to where the hard point is and things like that, so it's quite common to be able to snag the kill there with the gas grenade, and I just went for it anyway, and it paid off. That was the only guy on B, so it prevented the cap. And things like that are very, very useful. You can definitely get a number of kills by using things like that, but it really depends on the objective. Like again, like I say, it's less useful on this map than it is on others because the Titans just do not get a clear sight line on any of these objectives. The best Titan, I would say, for this objective, this map, etc., and this kind of map, similar maps where you can't get onto the points with the Titans, is probably Tone. And the reason for that is because Tone can use her sonar array, and she can send that out onto an objective, and she can scan the entire thing for enemy pilots. And that's a huge asset and a huge amount of assistance for anyone trying to capture the point. Like, you're doing your team a huge favor by letting them see everyone on the point, and then the pilots running around can actually go in and do that basically. They can go in and cap the point. I haven't used Tone on Enhanced Auto Titan mode, but I imagine she uses her ability there as well, which might help you as an individual too. So that's another option as well, is if it's a game type where you can't get onto the objective, or a game map where you can't get onto the objective with your Titan, then using the Auto Titan is another option, and using the Enhanced Auto Titan is a very good option. That's quite a nice couple of kills there with Scorch. If you want any tips with Scorch, I'd recommend just trying to build as much of your meter as possible and using your meter to burst opponents down. People eject as soon as they're doomed most of the time, and if they don't, Scorch's burst damage is quite significant and quite sudden. That actually gets quite a few kills on pilots who are like 1 bar and manage to get killed by the actual ultimate. So you can do things like that, and you can also use your ultimate and then mash square to eject, so you do the emergency ejection, and you're completely invulnerable during that period. You can use your ultimate and be invulnerable at the same time, basically, which is kind of cool. Like, most Titans can't because their damage is sustained, so as soon as they start ejecting, it cancels out the ultimate. Like, Ronin can't keep sword coring you while he's ejecting, and Tone can't keep firing her missile barrage while she's ejecting, but because Scorch is a single burst of like a fiery wave, he can do all that damage and be ejecting at the same time. So if you're in a like panic situation, you want to press the panic button and get out of that ship, you can just go for it and then activate your ultimate at the same time, basically. So activate your ultimate before and then mash the ejection, and you'll be fine. That's a really good strategy for when you're overwhelmed or you're at a disadvantage because of your health or something like that. Or you've just played the encounter quite badly and you need to compensate for that by killing the player at least with yourself, basically, and not letting him just get away with it for free. So you just use your ultimate and then eject out. It's a really good way of like controlling the amount of Titans on the map, because that way at least, even if they get you and you have your ultimate, obviously it's not always available, but even if they get you, if you manage to take them out or doom them, then that's usually good enough for keeping that pilot out of his Titan, which is good for controlling space on the map and controlling just the flow of the gameplay on the map generally. So that was quite a comical situation, because that guy obviously thought he was alone and going for the battery, and I managed to kill both of these Titans here with the fire and the ultimate. Like I say, the ultimate is incredibly effective, just a matter of building that with the right placements of your thermite, and getting people to stand them in them for long enough. Like, it doesn't take long to build it either. Like, if you get someone standing your fire for 1 or 2 seconds, then you're going to build that bar incredibly quickly, and you're going to have that core incredibly quickly for when you need to use it, basically. So that's really how you play Scorch. But, as I say, this map, we're 5 of us are in Titans right now, and we're quite close on score. It's probably not a good idea for us to be in so many Titans. It's probably a good idea if we had a few less players in Titans, a few more players on the ground. It's difficult to tell if they're in their Titan or their Titans in Auto Titan mode, because it doesn't say at the top of the screen, it just has the icons to mean their Titans in use. I think it'd be nice if there was some system in which you could identify them based on the icons. But at the moment we've got A, Amped, and we've got B, so we're going to control the game. Like, B is really the crucial one, and that's where we need to be concerned if they cap it, basically, because we're going to get A or C either way. So again, trying to finish this guy off here. I think I managed to, no, he probably ejects, yeah, he ejects. So that's very common. As soon as people are doomed, they're going to eject most of the time. I could have possibly burst him down by using my ultimate in that corridor, but it's limited range. I wasn't sure if I could catch him with it. I didn't want to waste it. Which is ironic because I do end up wasting it anyway, so it's a little bit, yeah. The firewall is quite odd that it got that guy up there. But anyway, it looks like we're going to win this game as well. We're taking off on score here, but with like a 40-point, 50-point lead. And that's because we managed to amp B, and we also got A. They can't realistically come back at this stage. And again, like I say, capping B is incredibly predictive of the match outcome. If you are going to focus on doing anything in any of these hardpoint games, just focus on capping B at the very start of the game. That's the most important thing you can focus your time doing. And then from there, honestly, you will probably find that you win the game. Like, we won this match here, and as you can see, the only difference was 70 points, and we managed to gain about 60 points by capping B at the very start of the game. Apart from that, we're mostly even, but because we managed to get, well, I managed to get 4 kills at the start of the game, my teammates managed to assist me with the cap, etc., we managed to win the game. We managed to get our Titans out early, it controls space, it prevents the enemy from mounting a good offensive. Obviously, the influence of Titans depends on a particular map, but yeah, that's what you need to do. If you're going to focus on anything in these objective plays, it should be getting B at the very start of the game. It's extremely predictive of the win. Hopefully these tips help you get a little bit better at hardpoint, maybe win a bit more consistently, level up a bit faster because you're getting those merits a little bit quicker. If you like the video, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. This has been Chrono Joe. Peace out.